Hey everybody, welcome back. So 2024 is coming to an end. Let's look back with some of the best, some of the worst. This is obviously my opinion, so if there's any movies that you think were the best or you think were the worst or not on these lists, all good. That's what we have the comments for. Thank you so much.
Will's doing it.
So let's start with the worst, though. Start off with the rough stuff, and then we'll end on the best of, so we can kind of end on a nice high note. So these are the top 5 worst of 2024. We'll start at number 5 and work our way down to the worst of the worst. At number 5, we got Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal's remake on Amazon of the iconic 80s Swayze movie Roadhouse. But now it's Jake Gyllenhaal. He's an MMA fighter who is asked to fight guys at a bar in like a Key West or some sort of Florida town. I watched the original because I had never seen it before this one, and it just kind of made the first one, the original, made this one kind of feel soulless. Jake Gyllenhaal's great. Love Jake Gyllenhaal, but this is really not his kind of role. He was shredded. He looked insane muscle-wise, but Swayze just had an aura about him, a thing that he brought to the character. Because in the movie, the whole thing is that they hire this Patrick Swayze or this chill, cool character to kind of like de-escalate things, get the bar in right order. But then Jake Gyllenhaal just comes in because he's an ex-MMA fighter and he just can fight. So that's the reason to hire him. It just doesn't. It's not the same kind of movie. The CGI they were doing, they're trying to show like a more contact in the punches and different things like that, it just didn't. It didn't work. It kind of took me out of it because the way the camera was whipping, and then you could see like it was just not a normal like frame rate and all this different stuff. It kind of just didn't work for me. It kept distracting me. So that's why Roadhouse, if you're going to watch a Roadhouse, watch the original, is at number 5. All right, number 4, we have Unfrosted. Jerry Seinfeld made a Netflix movie about the invention or creation of the Pop-Tart. Yeah, I don't know why he did it. He did, and then it just was so flat. It was so bad. They had an insane amount of people in this movie, like so much talent. So many SNL alums, people who just are killing it right now, and some people, just such a great cast, and they did nothing with it. They wanted to go more like absurdist and some kind of goofy kind of things, which I appreciate, but they just didn't go far enough. Like it was like they went like halfway, so it just became up being like stupid instead of like silly stupid. It's just hard to explain because it just didn't hit at all. And I gotta say, I've seen Jerry Seinfeld now playing for forever, my whole life pretty much. Love the Seinfeld TV show, but I honestly don't think he's that funny on his own, because if you didn't have Larry David and Seinfeld, would it have been as good? I don't know. And then you ask anybody, hey, if you had to pick your favorite character on Seinfeld, would anyone ever pick Jerry? I don't think so. I just don't understand what they're trying to do with this movie, and it just was so flat and just Unfrosted, number 4. All right, number 3, we have Irish Wish. If it wasn't for my wife's love of Lindsay Lohan and it actually being on St. Patrick's Day when we watched it, because we're like, oh, it's St. Patrick's Day, let's wear some green, let's eat some corned beef, and we'll watch this Irish movie. Definitely wouldn't have watched it because it was just so tough. The story just did not make any sense. The writing was dialogue was just so bad and just crunchy, and it was supposed to be cheesy because it's like Hallmarky kind of thing that she's doing now, and some are better than others. Like the newer Christmas one she had, not very offensive at all. It was actually not that bad at all. It was enjoyable. This one was just so, I just can't explain the roughness of it. I'm glad she's having a resurgence. She's doing more, and that's great, but maybe give her some more, substance to the movies she's going to do in the future. All right, and moving on to number 2. We're getting down to the bottom of the list, and it's tough because some of these movies are real crap. I did not enjoy them whatsoever. And we're going to go with number 2, Rebel Moon, Part 2, The Scar Giver, Zack Snyder's try at a Netflix Star Wars thing. They had the first part come out, I think in 2023 or 2022, I believe, and it was so bad, and I was not looking forward to seeing another one. And then this one came out, and somehow it topped how bad the first one was, but even more. There was so much slow-mo grain harvesting in this movie, it made my brain hurt. I was like, why is this important to the movie? And then you had the most lazy exposition scene I've ever seen in my entire life, where all the crew, the Magnificent Seven-ish crew that's going to be fighting this quote-unquote empire, all got around the table and they all spoke about individually, one at a time, one after the other, about their backstory and why they hate the Empire-esque people in these movies. And they went from person to person, and they showed a little scene every single time. And I'm like, listening, I'm like, are they really going to go through every single person? Are they really going to do it? And they did, and I don't understand it. And I know with the Justice League, he had his whole thing where there was a lot of studio interference, and he needed to have his director's cut. And yeah, the director's cut was a bit better, but it was also 4 hours long. So if you can't make a good movie in that amount of time, then you have a problem. But then he then immediately is putting out a director's cut for this, and it's like, why? If you had completely creative control, like Netflix would give him unlimited budget to do what he wanted to do, and then they still need a director's cut. It just makes my head hurt about like why and how this was decided on and made. I'm not a big. I guess I'm not a Zack Snyder fan. Like I didn't love a lot of his other stuff. 300 was great, but like that kind of style is kind of one and done for me. I don't need 10 movies, especially in that kind of style. No hate on people who like him, go for it. But this Rebel Moon just was so rough to watch. I think I had to like watch it in chunks. I'm like, I cannot sit through this all the way through. I don't think I'll make it. And number one, I'm sure some of you guys had it on your bingo card, and if you were saying, how could you not have mentioned this yet? It's coming. It's on number one here because it was the absolute worst. Madam Web. My God, where do I begin? Madam Web, when we first saw the first trailer and we had this.
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
We knew we were in for something absolutely special on Opposite Day special. This was so tough. I'm glad I didn't spend money and see it in theaters because I would have just walked out and be like, I just wasted a good amount of money, waited for it to go on Netflix or whatever I watched it on. The story was so rough. The dialogue was even rougher. I just don't get Dakota Johnson as an actress. No offense to her. She's just not my cup of tea. Just the deliveries of every line. Obviously, I know in like the post, doing touring around and talking about this movie, she just didn't give a crap about it, which is totally fine because it was a not good movie. But just the way she says the lines, the way she delivers the lines, everything was just so tough and hard to watch. And they show all these cool Spider Women like Sydney Sweeney and the other actresses, I don't remember their names, doing all this stuff in their spider costumes for like 4 seconds. Instead of just giving us a movie about that, they had to give us a movie about how they are found and brought together before they even get this. We don't even know how they get spider powers. So it's just like, what? Why was this a movie? I don't understand. And also for it to be Madam Web, who's a very side character in comics and everything, an animated show back in the day, for it to be around a whole movie. I understand what Sony's trying to do, where like they give little backstories to all these different villains for whatever reason, and then not bring in Spider-Man ever. It just makes my brain hurt. Like I saw Kraven not too long ago. It's on this list because it's not as bad as these ones. But the same thing, it's like, where is this going? The Venom movies were fine, and I leave not knowing what there was for, but I still had like a good enough time. Same thing with Kraven, fun action scenes, but this movie was redeemable. There's nothing in it that's like, well, I like this part or I like this thing. It's like everything, acting, story, dialogue, everything was just why? What was it for? Besides, I guess, some money, but it completely tanked in the box office, so it didn't even get their money back. Madam Web is just a special kind of something. That's why it's number one on my list for worst of 2024. Oof, so rough. All right, let's have a bit of a palate cleanser, if you will. Let's do the best of 2024. We're going to have 5 and go down to 1, so we have the best of the best at the end. All right, at number 5, we have Alien Romulus. I'm a huge fan of the Alien franchise. I'm even I'm a huge Prometheus fan, okay? I know some people hate on it and stuff. I'm a huge Prometheus fan. I love it. I've rewatched it multiple times. Anyway, going back to Alien Romulus, absolutely fun time. Nothing brand new, inventive. They do a couple of callbacks. They're a little cringy to the original Alien, but I kind of I don't let it ruin. Some people let that kind of stuff ruin the entire movie for them. I see it. I let it go, okay, fun, or okay, too much, cheesy. And then I go past it. I don't let it ruin my entire time. The standout for me was David Johnson, who played the synthetic in this movie. He starts out, I don't want to give too many spoilers away. He kind of starts out as more of a meek, smaller character. He kind of he's helpful, but then he's also has troubles, and his adoptive kind of sister has to help him. But then he gets an upgrade, and then his character completely changes, and he's very efficient and more cold, but more calculating and stronger, and all these different things. So it's really cool seeing him doing kind of pretty much a dual role in this movie. And they had some fun different things you haven't seen before, like some zero gravity, alien, acid blood, all that just different stuff is fun. And obviously I won't give away any spoilers, but they really up the creep factor towards the end. If you know, you know. I don't want to spoil anything. Go check it out if you haven't. Alien Romulus, number 5. Moving on to number 4, we have Hitman. It was on Netflix. Glenn Powell is a charming effing guy. This must have been so fun for him as like an actor to play all these little different kinds of characters, because he's playing a fake hitman that people will hire. Then he helps the police like arrest these people for trying to hire a hitman to kill somebody. So he's dressing up in all these different kind of characters and teeth and wigs and all this different stuff. And it just looked like a lot of fun. And then on top of that, you have a really fun rom-com, who will they, won't they? Did she kill somebody? Did he kill somebody? It's a whole thing, but a lot of fun. Definitely go check it out if you haven't. Hitman, Glenn Powell. I get it now. I get it how he's a leading man. At number 3, we have Saturday Night. I am a huge Saturday Night Live fan. I really don't miss an episode, and if I do, I can't stay up for it for some reason. I'll watch it the next day on Peacock, cut all those commercials out. So when they had this movie come out where it's like, leading up to the first showing in 1975, I was like, that's awesome. That's so cool to see. And some of the things may not be completely true if they happened, another time, and then they put it into this movie as everything happening on that one night. But even if it's all not 100% factual, it kept the story interesting, exciting, very upbeat. A lot of quick delivery of lines, like a lot of things happening all at once. And of course, obviously they pull it all together to have a great show. And then it's, this year coming up is the 50th year of SNL, so it was kind of a cool movie to see leading up to this historic anniversary coming up. Was a huge fan of all the people playing the original cast in SNL, so it was really fun to see. If you're a fan of SNL at all, go check it out. It's a good time. And at number 2, we have Challengers. Now, this was a awesome time in the theater. The music, this is not something you think of when you're thinking of different kind of, sexy thriller kind of things. But the music in this was so fun and upbeat. It just was so different than other things you've seen. Obviously it's about tennis, but it also wasn't about tennis. It was about these people having these relationships through tennis. But the movie was all about tennis, but not about tennis at all at the same time. It was very hard to explain. So you have these amazing actors. You got Zendaya killing it, and there's love triangle, and it's very sexy but then very thrillery. Who done it, who did it, all this different stuff. And the way they show the story is they're doing a lot of flashbacks during the movie. So at first I was like, so many flashbacks, let's just show the movie. But as I'm watching it and you're seeing them always cutting back to the same match they're having, that's kind of going along the whole movie. And then every time they cut back to something in the past, it's kind of informing you more and more about the relationships together. So by the end, you're like, this match is so much more than it seems to be in the beginning. So it's a really cool way of doing a story, and just all around acting is great, music is great. You leave this movie either at home or in the theater totally hyped, and just a great time. Go check it out. Challengers was awesome. And at number 1, my favorite movie of 2024, I am a huge Dune head for sure. So Dune Part 2, what a film. Dune Part 1 was so good, so fun. I really love the world that Denis Villeneuve really made. But then in Part 2, he cranks up even more. Number 1 was really good, laying the groundwork, because I haven't read the novels. I haven't even seen the original David Lynch Dune yet. I want to watch it. It's on my list. Haven't gotten to it yet. But just laying the groundwork in 1, so then you could really bump it up and do so much more. And the second one was so freaking awesome. Timothée Chalamet, also a Zendaya movie. Timothée Chalamet, though, really just, at first I was like, Timothée Chalamet playing this big character, I'm not sure about it. But in this movie, he drinks some low water of life that kind of brings him to the next level. The transformation for him, going from where he was, obviously, doing his thing, but then going so much higher and more cold and calculating all this different stuff when he gets just so fun seeing that transformation it came through in the role. The way this movie looks, obviously I watched a lot of behind the scenes stuff for Dune 2. Actually, the only DVD Blu-ray I own right now is Dune 2, because I wanted to get it that bad to see it on my TV in Blu-ray quality, all the behind the scenes, going to all these locations, getting all this really, really good, just shots that are incredible, and just having this story build and build and build. I'm so excited for the third one. I can't wait until they get this out. It's going to probably be in another 2 years, so it's going to be a little long, but number 1 movie by far for me is Dune Part 2. Can't wait for the third one. So those are my best and worst of 2024. 2025 come up. It's going to be a great year. I have another video coming out that is going to be all the most anticipated movies for 2025. So go check that out. And if you could subscribe, like, all that kind of fun stuff, really appreciate it. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.